This meeting is being recorded.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Chiefin with Daily Dale. I'm your host, Dale Fowler, alongside my partner, Lonny Harris. Bro, how you doing today, man?
Good. And yourself?
Doing pretty good, bro. I'm excited. This is our first episode of Chiefin with Daily Dale. Of course, this is exclusive for all Chiefs content. We'll be breaking down the latest news, talk about the upcoming things that's going on for the Chiefs, any breaking news, anything in particular in that substance. That's what we're going to be talking about on the podcast. So, Lonnie, you ready?
Yeah. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go talk about the boys.
All right. So, our first part of the show, we're going to be discussing the draftee breakdown of what we experienced in this 2023 NFL draft. Of course, the draft was here in Kansas City this past April at the end of the month, and the Chiefs made some good pickups. I mean, a lot of people thought that they were going to end up trading ahead, trying to find the receiver like Zay Flowers or Quentin Johnston, and also maybe even try to pull a defensive end. However, they just stayed to their original, format, their plan of what they wanted to do, and they were able to actually pick up some decent guys. And in the first round, we saw them pick up a local guy who came out of Kansas State. We call him Felix, excuse me. And man, like, this kid is phenomenal. He's a speed rusher. He has a lot of potential to really do some great things in Kansas City. So first, Lonnie, how you feel about that pickup with that DN out of Kansas State?
I really like the pickup of the DN. I feel like that really showed really the direction that the team is going in. We lost Frank Clark here. He was a dominant pass rusher for many years here, very, very dominant over the past years. So like it really showed the direction that the Chiefs are trying to go in, really in that first round when you get around there, because you look at either offensive tackle or DN. We knew that was this area of need, losing Orlando Brown as well. But I really like the King Felix. I mean, 20 and a half career sacks, and fourth and forced fumbles, eight forced fumbles in a year. So like, I like that. That stood out to me more forced fumbles than Will Ederson. They kept saying that, referencing that when he got drafted. So the athleticism is there. The pass rush ability is there. We just got to see if he can bang with those big NFL tackles or 300-pound tackles, man. They're ready to go.
Well, he is 6'4", 4 inches. He has some great height on him. And along with those 20.5 sacks you said he had during his 3 years at Kansas State, he also had a total of 26.5 sacks altogether as well, too. 26.5 tackles for a loss. That's tremendous when we are talking about a guy who is really known for his speed rush to get and attack the quarterback. This is someone who is able to also be effective in the run game as well. Now, they did say that was one of his weak points. However, working with Steve Spagnuolo and those guys on that defensive front, he will be able to learn and become disciplined as time goes. So I'm very excited for that pickup. And with us losing Frank Clark, as you said earlier, that is, really, that was hard for us. Although we know in his last years he hasn't been as effective as we want him to, and he has been injured and was dealing with some off the field issues. But still, at the same time, in the postseason, he has been very, very efficient, and he actually comes through when we need it. He also moved up in the ladder, becoming second in total sacks in the postseason as well, having a chance to break that record next year if he does find a new home, maybe come back home. We'll talk about that later in the show. However, I mean, picking up this kid from K-State, it fills a void that we were looking for in the offseason. And with him being a local guy as well, too, he understands what Kansas City is looking for and what we're trying to do. He knows he has to come in, be effective very early, really come in pro ready, because playing with a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, we're always in contention. We're never lacking in that area. We're going to make it to the playoffs. More than likely, we're going to win the division. So you got to come in with a mindset of being able to play right now. So do you feel like he will be the biggest impact for the Chiefs coming in, or do you have another face that you feel that can be effective that came in those later rounds for the Kansas City Chiefs in this in the 2023 draft?
So as far as effectiveness, I feel like he will be effective. As far as impact, I feel like it's another sleeper chief that I have
Mm-hmm.
actually as far as like the impact. But as far as effectiveness, I know King Felix will be effective. Sources very close to him on some barbershop talk have told me that yes, I've had somebody that was very close to him said they've spoken with him and said he's he understands the situations that he's stepping into. Just because I know as a kid, me growing up and watching, and even you watching Chiefs football over these past couple of years, we understand what we've been through, and we understand the type of players that we need to get to where we want to go, which is a Super Bowl. So you have to be an NFL ready player, and I feel like with that being said, and with him watching that for these past years and being that player at K-State and growing up as a Chiefs fan, he understands that. And you can kind of see that in his game, the way he stops the run and the way he gets after it with the pass rush. But yes, sources say he will be very, 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 very ready to go as far as NFL ready and understand what he's stepping into. Just being a KC kid. But as far as my sleeper pick, as far as the roster goes, my sleeper pick is Miho Remigio.
Huh?
He's a wide receiver out of Fresno State. That's my sleeper, man. He's
So
really, really, really,
was this an
really,
undrafted
really
free agent?
undrafted free agent. Undrafted
Okay.
free agent. I'm sorry. Undrafted free agent. Nico Remigio. He signed with the Chiefs. I watched recently, just got a glimpse of him. I seen some of his highlights. He did some work during the season. 74 passes, 852 yards. Like he did some work in his senior year at Fresno State. He was really, really explosive. He showed a lot of explosiveness on his tape, just with the hands, and he did a lot of end around stuff at Fresno State as well. Um, Great in the punt return game. We kind of struggled with the punt return game last year.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like that being like a weak suit, it got stronger. Ended up being one of our strongest suits at the end of the year, actually. But yeah, he's just great, explosive there. Man, he really just jumps off to me. Yeah, jumps off the tape to me. And he was actually undrafted, but yes, I feel like he'll have a big impact on the roster, even in that preseason.
Well, the
Actually, it's a sleeper.
well, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're known for really going out and finding some guys in the after the draft that are undrafted that can come in and get some playing time immediately. We had one in Justin Ross who didn't play last season because of injury, but that guy was a first round talent. And you see coming into this season, into this off season, he looks like he's well prepared and will be ready to go. And that's a year off of being drafted and then sitting out that whole year as well too. So I can understand with that guy that you're talking about, that with him being an in around guy, us losing McCole Hardman in that part of this in the off season, we we brought someone in that can take that role, because we know Kadarius Toney, they're looking at him as the number one option, even though he can do all of that. But we saw the same thing with Reek. We want to use them in the moments where we need a big play and come at that time, but we also want to use them as the number one wide receiver that we signed them to be. So having that kid come in, that's going to be very important, because although he might not get all the receptions, or you might not see him being a touchdown magnet, but on those end rounds, maybe he can get a first down. Maybe he can have a burst where it can get the offense jump started, like what we saw a few years ago in that divisional round with the Houston Texans, and then we just went on that run. We then saw it throughout the times in the past seasons where we had that spark that were able to help us out. I like that, but one guy I feel that we should be watching out for, and to me, the right tackle, Wanye Morris. Now I understand that we went out, got Donovan Smith from Tampa Bay, who was a free agent. They're planning on him getting first team reps as a left tackle, and then using Lawan Taylor, who we picked up in free agency from the Jaguars, as right tackle. I understand we paid him 20 mil and we was looking at him at to be the left tackle, but it was smart by Beach to go out and get a guy who was someone that is a low risk, high reward contract, where if we get the best out of him, you got a number one line again with the Kansas City Chiefs with the best quarterback in the world, Patrick Mahomes. Now, the reason why I say Wanye Morris is a sleeper, because if he comes out and ball out and Donovan Smith is not what we think in camp and he ends up getting played out eventually by Taylor, now you have a tackle you could come in, Wanye Morris, who is a mauler. He has great feet, and he's someone who can be developed into that Mitchell Schwartz type of guy that we had a few years ago, who was the best right tackle in the league when healthy. So if you can, either way it goes, the Chiefs are good because you have other guy options like Niang. You have Kennard as well too. We just have a line to where we can be able to work with something. So the reason why Morris stands out to me is because he's in a position where he can fight for a starting spot. We're going to put the best available in there. We saw Trey Smith, who was a 6th-round pick, came in, was phenomenal, had to start him immediately. You had Creed Humphrey in the 2nd round, center, came in and started immediately. And then you have Thuney, a veteran, on the left side. So you got your interior locked down. You're good. And then you bring in Taylor, who is very athletic. He's very quick. He's also someone who can body those defensive ends as well, too. And then you got Donovan Smith, who is a starting left tackle, who's played over 100+ games in his career, really was durable throughout that time as well, too. Need to do some tweaks in his game, but that's important. So you build that around to where you have options. So Morris, he's a guy right now who can fight for that, get that, and he can end up starting before the before the first game of the season. What we have to see what he does in free agency, but that's who's my sleeper at this moment. I think he's going to be very effective. I think it's someone at that position, being an offensive lineman, you always need to have a great offensive line. So that's why that's someone I think that will come in, be the sleeper pick that ends up getting the starting position. Now, the last part of this topic right here for the draftees breakdown. Very quick, who you think will be a developmental piece from this draft that can end up being a great Chief later on, but just need a few tweaks in the game and might not be ready to go, but can end up possibly getting the rest if injury happen?
I feel like really, man, like BJ Thompson stands out to me. Man, the kid out of Stephen F. Austin. They said he transferred. He sat out in 2019. Recorded 20 sacks in 3 seasons. He's long, lengthy. Man, we got him in the 5th round, pick 166. Man, he's a. I watched. He doesn't have a lot of film. Because I couldn't see a lot on him. But what I did see, he's lengthy. He gets after it. He's that speed guy. We're gonna touch on the Frank subject later, but I feel like when with losing Frank, we kind of lose that extra get off. Frank was one of the top players in the league as far as his get off. I mean, you want to just talk about just be straight beating linemen off the line, just getting around you. But yeah, so like just I feel like he's gonna add a different element to that pass rush. Karthaftis is already powerful. Chris Jones is powerful. So like you really need that speed piece there to kind of that yin and yang. So I really feel like BJ Thompson is really gonna be really be that guy to look out for, man, because he's a 5th rounder. He's kind of sitting on that cusp, man. He's got to really show. He shows some promise. I know he's kind of a skinny guy. I know he has to kind of put on some weight, but I don't think that'll be an issue. I mean, if he got it to Stephen F. Austin, he was good there, got to play, and recorded 20 sacks. I feel like he'll be fine and ready to go in the NFL as long as he keeps that same mindset. And I feel like Brett Veach and the staff do really, 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 really good as far as finding NFL ready talent, man. Like
Uh-huh.
we talk about that, and I feel like he's NFL ready. He has to be ready. They don't bring anybody in here that's not ready. So like, um, we'll see. But I feel like he's really, really that person that just a couple of tweaks in his game. Like I said, put a little bit of weight on him. Kind of like a project guy like Jody, man. But like I feel like he'll be great, man. Like he
Uh-huh.
has that because that's the pass rusher. That's the kind of pass rusher game that we're going towards. We got guys like Mahomes and Hurts and Jackson that move in the pocket. You have to have that speed guy, that agility guy, that can get north and south and east and west at the same time, and get all around the field and still be able to corral the quarterback. So more like kind of like a Michael Parsons. Mike Parsons do everything.
Uh-huh.
That's the way the game is going now. So I feel like he has that build, and with a couple tweaks in his game, man, he'll be great. That's right, B.J. Thompson. That's my developmental pick.
See what he do, what he would do. I mean, we needed that depth on the defensive line, so I definitely understand why you feel that way in that pickup. DN was some of a question going into the draft, and being able to pick up two guys like Felix and him. You know, they said one thing about him, according to Arrowhead Live, is his great athletic ability. So if we can be able to get that out of him, and we can get that pass rush to where it's very effective. We're able to attack those guys like Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, those quicksters. That'd be a great access to have on the defensive side. Very quickly for me, I'm just going to say the wide receiver at SMU, Rashee Rice. You know, everyone was talking about should the Chiefs go after DeAndre Hopkins. You got a guy right here that you can build off of and eventually become that. And he's going to end up getting time throughout the year anyway because we know Andy Reid likes to use those type of weapons. So if he comes out in camp where he's showing the promise of what he should be, expect him to be on that roster game one Thursday night against the Detroit Lions, and he might have a good game at that. So we'll see how that goes. But now let's move on to our next topic. The NFL released the schedules for the entire league this past Thursday. The Chiefs, we have a ton of primetime games. This is the first time I really seen in Chiefs history to where we only had literally 12 noon games at this moment. Remember, everybody, we were going through it. We had that 50-year drought. Next thing you know, Mahomes came in and he changed the whole narrative of this Kansas City Chiefs squad. Absolutely. So now we're all on prime time. First game of the season, Detroit Lions. I was expecting maybe the Miami Dolphins. We saw a lot of trash talk between Chris Jones and Tyreek Hill. So, Lonny, what is your thoughts on this NFL release of the schedule, the Chiefs schedule?
It's the first game of the year, like you said. It was it's a doozy. It's not all of that, but it's great. I mean, it's good. It's the first game of the year. It's NFL kickoff. It's Super Bowl. We're getting presented our rings. So it's good. It's dope.
Yeah.
What's my what stood out to me on the schedule really is just the end part of our schedule, right? This last little run here is these last I stay stretch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, right? It's a stretch of about 5 games that we have starting with the Bills. It looks like at 3:25 on Sunday, and this is all at the end of the year. The Patriots on Monday Night Football at 7:15, and then we got the Raiders at 12 on Christmas at 12:20. I mean at 12 o'clock on the 25th, and then we play the Bengals at 3:25. That stretch of games is going to be the biggest test for the Chiefs. just because we play a lot of meaningful games, and we played. I don't recall where we played the Buffalo game last year, but I don't recall it being this late in the season. We play a lot of games that's like measuring stick games, right? Like we measure to see where our team is at. And I feel like those measuring stick games are going to come really late in the season.
Uh-huh.
A lot of those games where you rest your starters, we won't be resting starters,
Yeah.
because you play teams like the Bengals
Yeah.
to end the year on New Year, so it's like, man, so it's like you gotta bring your game. You're gonna have to bring your game. You gotta bring your game at the end of the year, and that's just all it showed me. They're not gonna be able to have lapses like
Yeah.
they did, like they have before. They're gonna have to get it going early and keep it going at the end of the year, because you don't want to lose that momentum going into the playoffs.
Well, I think the league does that because they know that the Kansas City Chiefs and those teams that you just named out, like the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Chargers, those guys are going to be in contention as well. And it also is for seeding games. This is like the playoffs before the playoffs. So you get that playoff atmosphere games before it actually start. That's why these teams are usually ready for it when it comes into the postseason, because they have that level of competition already. Now, the most exciting game for me, though, for this upcoming season is the Miami Dolphins versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm gonna just be honest. You have Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones going back and forth, and really you have a lot of fans. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of Kansas City fans. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna tell you like this. A lot of us, not me per se, but a lot of people are still salty about it. They're mad that he continues to talk about the team. They like why you don't let it go. He doesn't want to let it go because, I mean, at the same time, it's still entertainment, even though this is a real game. You know, we got to live up to it. Y'all thought that, a lot of people thought that he wasn't going to be anything going over there to play with Tua Tagovailoa and not be able to put up the same numbers. And he had better numbers than he had with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, that's due to the fact that there's less weapons that we have here, because we have one of our best here in Travis Kelce, who's going to take away some of those opportunities that Reed's going to get over there all the time. Now, that's okay. But at the same time, it's just that level of competition and seeing that they're doing good as well, too. We got to keep in mind, although they went into the playoffs and Tua was out for that game and they had a backup quarterback playing, those games that Tua would have finished or played throughout the season, they could have had a better record. Now, he needs to learn how to protect his head a lot more, avoid some hits, get the ball away quickly, and he can avoid those situations in the upcoming year, this year. However, I think the level of talent that they have over there with Jalen Waddle, you have Mike Gesicki, you have Raheem Mostert, you also have not Chase Edmonds that left with Jeff Wilson as well too, who was involved in that trade with San Francisco. They were able to bring a lot of talent over there, and then you have a defense in Jalen Ramsey. You have, I think Ingram hasn't signed back yet, but more than likely he will. You traded for Bradley Chubb last year as well too, in the before the trade deadline. You have a lot of skill positioning, a lot of great talent on both sides of the ball, and it's going to be really a hard matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is a team that's coming in as well too with bulletin board material, because at the same time they want to prove to the Chiefs that, hey, we can end up doing something for Tyreek as well too. You don't have just the only quarterback that was able to really make him a great wide receiver. We have that over here in Tua as well too. So it's really just a game that I feel that's going to have a lot of back and forth chatter. You know, you're really gonna have that banter that's needed throughout the game, and really is just like a measuring stick of competition where they want to show who's better or not. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's gonna be fun to watch. But what's your thoughts on that? What's the most exciting game for you coming up?
Yeah. So when you explain it like that, man, the back and forth banter for that game, and that game is gonna have the feel of a heavyweight fight. I remember they said like a lot of heavyweights used to fight overseas back in the day. So like it's gonna have the feel of a heavyweight fight. It's happening in Munich. It's not happening in I'm sorry, excuse me. It's happening in Frankfurt, Germany. So with it not
it's
being
7:30
here,
my time. It's gonna be
Yeah,
7:30
yeah,
my time.
yeah. 8:30 my time, so it's like 8:30 a.m. So it's gonna be, it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna have the weight of one of those of a heavyweight fight. It's gonna be one of the best games on on the schedule. But I'm really looking forward to the Sunday night game against the Jets. Um,
Aaron Rodgers versus Mahomes.
Aaron Rodgers versus Mahomes. We haven't had, weren't able to get it. These past years, Rodgers was hurt.
And Mahomes
One
had an
year,
injury
Love
too.
played, and then injured, and then Mahomes was injured another year. So we haven't been able to see it. We didn't get able to see it. Get him in the Packers uniform. But
Hmm.
I really want to see that. That's a Sunday night game, 7:20. Um, yeah, really looking forward to seeing that Jets game. Because I just feel like every time something happens in the AFC, and this is no offense to the AFC, or they can take offense to it, but um, you every time something happens, it's the biggest thing in the world. Um, and Aaron Rodgers to the Jets was like, it's the biggest news ever. So like, it's like you would have thought the Jets won the championship a couple of weeks ago or something. The way the New York media is with Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. So I just really want to see it. I really want to see what they have, see what they got. We
I
didn't
lo-
get a shot at the Jets last year. They had a great defense. So like, I like to see Mahomes against the best defense. Run your best defense out there. All four pass rushers,
yeah.
your best corners, and let's play. Because I know I have a quarterback that can play. So
I love the camaraderie as well, though, with the Jets. I mean, rallying in, really just saying, "Okay, let's go out and get Aaron Rodgers," and the squad was happy about it as well too. This is a team I feel like that they're going to end up being in the talks in the playoffs as well too. Just going to be completely honest. I mean, at the same time, not only they were making moves before Aaron Rodgers even came, they were able to go out and get McCole Hardman, stealing from us, right, signing him to a 1 year deal, and then you went out and got Alan Lazard as well too, and brought in Randall Cobb, and then they also have Garrett Wilson, a young guy that's coming up as well too, and then you have Brees Hall that's coming back at running back. You have the structure on offense where Aaron Rodgers should be able to succeed. Now, this is not the same as Brett Favre in age wise. This guy is coming off, you know, being a two-time MVP. Last season wasn't the best, but at the same time, you still see that poise and that professionalism from Aaron Rodgers, and someone who's still ready to play. He's going to be able to come in and change the culture for the Jets. And right now, I understand with them being in win now mode, they in one of the biggest states in the entire country. This is like showtime in New York. They want to be able to bring the New York Jets back. The last time they were really successful was with Joe Namath. That's a long time ago. I definitely understand. You have a great defense over there. You got Sauce Gardner. You know, you got that young bull coming up. He's one of the best corners in the game, one of the best rookies last year. He won Defensive Rookie of the Year last year as well, too. This is somebody who can eventually be Defensive Player of the Year as well, too. He's just that talented. And he's also going out, spending time with Aaron Rodgers, being on the other side of the ball, but he's trying to become a leader on that defensive side where they can respect him. That's where when you put yourself around that veteran leadership, going out to those games, building that relationship, is going to be important for the Jets going forward, and that helps that young coach and Robert Saleh as well too. So really, that's exciting games to look out for. But you know, I still think the Jets, they're both in the AFC East. But I still think but I still think it's the Miami Dolphins. We already seen Cincinnati and the Chiefs. We already seen the Bills and the Chiefs. The Chiefs finally got theirs when it was most important. I mean, Bengals fans out there still saying 3-1. I understand, but we don't care. We won, beat y'all, and then went to the Super Bowl and won. It's cool. I mean, we can say we remember that, so we can leave that alone. So, but it's going to be an exciting season, though. We're going to all have to stay up late. Sorry for those who work the next day. That's including myself. So but it's okay though that we live to like go through this. We went through this for so many years, 50-year drought, to being Super Bowl contenders and actually winning the Super Bowl, and then winning 2 within 3 years as well too. That's just a great 2 within 4 years. Excuse me. That's just wasn't common about 15 years ago, up until 2018, 2019 season. So it's fun. It was great, but hey, like we'll see how it goes. So that's going to be exciting. So right now we're going to jump into our commercial break, and we be back with some more Chiefs talk here on Chiefin with Daily Dale. Welcome back to the episode, everybody. Now, jumping into our next topic, the Chris Jones contract extension that we're all looking forward to. Now, he's in the last year of his contract in 2023, where his base salary is 19,500,000, and then also he has a cap hit this year of 28,291,000. Now, the Chiefs want to extend him for at least another 3 to 4 years. Chris Jones said himself that he wants to retire a Chief. This is a player, a defensive tackle that has been a part of 2 Super Bowl wins with the Kansas City Chiefs, having significant seasons, was a force in the middle, and also when we needed him to play edge, he were able to get those sacks as well. Um, this is a phenomenal franchise player that we did pick up in the second round, and I feel that it is important and is imperative for them to get this done as soon as possible. Now, Lonnie, what are your thoughts? And do you think the Chiefs need to extend Chris Jones? If so, when should they get this done?
Um, they definitely. So as far as the extension, they definitely need to get it done.
Huh?
You have to get it done this year. Because it's only one word to describe Chris Jones, and that's dominant. Um, like we've had pass rushers coming here, like Frank Clark and Emmanuel Agba, um, Tano Passingo, several several different pass rushers coming here. None have been to the to the greatness or to the extent of Chris Jones. Um, Chris Jones is just outright dominant. He's the second best defensive tackle behind Aaron Donald, if not almost surpassing Aaron Donald. I mean, some would argue, but he does it in a different way, a different fashion. I believe with him showing that he has that edge ability, he gave more value to himself, um, just by being that bigger body. The way he manhandles linemen, I'm like, these are 300-pound linemen. Like these are professional NFL players with kids and stuff like that. So, but the way it's just, it's dominant. It's dominance. His dominance, it speaks for itself. Like you said, the sack totals, the no postseason sacks. He said he was never worried about it, but the way he attacked Joe Burrow, you wouldn't know. So like, it's just like it's dominant. You got to get it done. I feel like you have to get it done this year. Sometimes I know Veach is not a fan of doing contracts during the year. I don't know if we've ever seen somebody get a contract done during the year. Um, so he has to get it done, right? But I feel like you got to find that sweet spot of not, because because how old is Chris Jones? He's like 28, right?
Yes, he's 28.
28. So like you got to find that sweet spot once you get around this age. He's going up. This would be his second time going up. So, yeah. So like you got to kind of find a good sweet spot about like a 3-year deal. He's gonna have to get paid. He's gonna want. He's due. I feel like his money's earned that. Like I said, dominance, man. It speaks for itself. So,
and to me, this will be his last contract, last big contract that he has. So the Chiefs got to come with an offer that he can't resist. Because really, if they get a 3 to 4 year deal, that means his contract at his age, his birthday is in July 3rd. So probably they get it done at least after that, right? So depending on the time that they get it done, he'll either be 32, 33 by the end of that contract, and then after that, it will just be 3 year deals, probably 2 year, something in that range. So if he's playing at the same level, then someone else probably will try to do that, or the Chiefs will try to extend again, work with him since he's a veteran on the squad. He has been reliable throughout the years with us, so we're going to try to take care of him, and we know that he don't want to leave Kansas City. So really, I feel like you have to get it done. Don't let it. You got to get it done before the season starts. I don't think you can let these talks go into mid-season, because that's usually when all facets of the organization is in a mode to where they're just focusing on that season at that time, including Chris Jones, because he's worried about going to the playoffs and getting to the Super Bowl and bringing another one back to Kansas City as well, where he have three championships opposed to just having two. So I feel like it's important to at least get this done before or in the middle of the preseason. That way, you go into the season knowing that you have your star defensive tackle locked in and ready to go throughout and ready to compete for 2023. And it's very important. I mean, last year he tied, like I said, he tied a sack total that he had in 2018, the year that the Chiefs went to the AFC Championship game and lost to Tom Brady in the Patriots. And then he did it again in 2022, where he had also a combined tackles of 14. It was 14 assists on that, and he had a couple of tackles for a loss. So he really matched his total in the contract year to him, because you want to get that contract done the last year to extend it, right? So he
Yes.
did it in the contract year where he met those numbers. He also got his incentive as well too, because his incentive says that he just need to make 10 million or 10 sacks in a season to go to get like that 1.5 mil. So he has met that requirement. Also got a postseason sack as well too, and he was dominant throughout the postseason as well. Not only just in the run game, but his effectiveness of getting to the passer and disrupting the quarterback, which causes turnovers and cause uncomfortability in the pocket to where they make mistakes, and then you're able to get the offense off the field. So at 28 years old, and in a year where he's the second best defensive tackle, honestly, he was the best defensive tackle this season over Aaron Donald numbers wise, and then also winning the Super Bowl. So you can say right now he's a top guy in his position. He needs to make that money. So even if you are able to sustain him and make him the highest paid defensive tackle, that will lower the cap hit on you for this year. But at the same time, depending on the bonus that you get of him, the signing bonus, and also a roster bonus included in that, at the same time, this could put him in a position where he feels good and he knows he's going to play at the caliber of what he's known to be at, to really make those hit those incentive marks to get more money as well. Anyway, so honestly, I think right now, I think they're in a position, my opinion, no sources on this at all. I think they're just trying to really get the structure of how many years and the number. I think it's important on the number, because if Beach can get it to where it doesn't affect the cap hit of the team, and then also still benefits the luxury of what Chris Jones wants and what he feels comfortable with, that will be a plus going forward. And then you can worry about another necessity being locked up for this Kansas City roster. And then now you build around that. Usually I understand that a lot of teams like building around their edge rushers and then having decent quarterbacks and then a good linebacking core. But I think the focus for the Chiefs is locking up their defensive tackle, having that pressure in the middle where he's the best interior pass rusher. He's able to collapse the pocket for that quarterback where he makes them force them out, and then they'll have to throw the ball and run and give a chance to your defensive ends to actually attack that and make the quarterback uncomfortable as well. I feel like you need that threat to really open up that defense in whole, because if you have a strong and significant pass rush and then also a great run defense, you take off that pressure from your defensive backs, where they're going up against guys like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson that they will see this year, Stephon Diggs that they will see again this year. Just so many guys, it's so many on each team, is going to take off the pressure of those defensive backs. So locking him up, having him focus for the years to come, I think it's important to get that contract done now, immediately.
Yeah.
Do not play with that at all.
And that's the only thing I say about that. And this is not to harp on it too long, but Chris Jones, and this is why I say it's the Aaron Donald argument is there. If you can watch the game, it's not as sexy as Aaron Donald, right? It's not, okay, I'm gonna line up over your tackle, let me swim move and beat him real quick like this, and then I'm gonna swim move, beat him to the quarterback, slam your quarterback on the ground, and then I can come in and I'm gonna stand over your center. I'm gonna just take him and just manhandle him back into the quarterback and grab both of them at the same time. It's not the same sexy type of style as Aaron Donald. It's more of, okay, let me beat you with my hands. You got the tackle got his hands. He has his hands inside, yeah. But Chris Jones' hands is so good and so great that he's beating you with his hands. You got your hands off of you. Once you get your hands off, he's at your quarterback. So it's like he doesn't do it. It's not as sexy as Aaron Donald. It's not as one step I'm in the backfield and it's a speed rush kind of power per se, but it's more like he's more technical, more fundamentally sound. I
But
would
you got
say.
at the same time, it's a size difference as well too. You have Aaron Donald, who is significantly shorter than Chris Jones. Chris Jones is 6'6" at 310 pounds. So honestly, the times that you see him stand up in the middle, it's not that he's just being lazy all the time. It's just really being lazy on that play. What it is, he's just hovering and towering over that offensive guard or that center and sometimes that tackle as well too when he's on the edge, where it's really, like you said, it's not as sexy because Aaron Donald, he's very athletic, he's quick. At his size, you got to be able to use your hands very phenomenally. You have to just really attack points of that big offensive lineman, where it does a lot. When you're someone small like that, it takes a lot more out of you to where, oh, it's like, wow, he's doing all that, because you're seeing all the movements of how fast it goes. But opposed to Chris Jones, it's like, I'm doing the same thing. It just don't look as sexy because, first of all, I'm already bigger than this guy. So really, all I have to do is do a quick little move over. If I get off the line quick, you saw those times where he jumps off the line, and where it's like, oh, he got that back there very quick because he builds that up. He's not going to do that every play. However, what I always tell people is, and this is what I learned as well too, playing offensive line, you have to get a push on that opposing defensive lineman. You got to at least push them back 2 to 3 yards. If you're at a stalemate at 0 yards, although that defensive lineman didn't push you back, at the same time, they won that possession because you didn't have an advantage at the line of scrimmage. You didn't push them forward. So when that running back comes in and try to runs up the A gap or the B gap, it's already clogged up. And then when he makes contact with him, it's 0 yards past the line of scrimmage. So you can fight for an extra couple yards if you can, but if you have a guy like Chris Jones who towers you, and then as soon as he hits you, you hit the ground, that's a loss. That's no gain at all.
It's a loss of yard, exactly.
That's a win for the defense. So at the same time, he has a size advantage to where it utilizes what he can do within the range of the defense, and that's why he can do more for them on the defensive line. And that's why you need to extend Chris Jones as soon as possible. You have guys out there who's very phenomenal. You have Hargraves, you have Jalen Carter, who just got drafted. However, right now, who you know the best in the league is Chris Jones and Aaron Donald. Chris Jones was better last season. You see, Aaron Donald was already contemplating retirement last year. He's getting to the age where he done it. He was with the Rams when they were in St. Louis and moved over to LA. He's been in the league for a long time. So Chris Jones is now coming to the point where he's 28 years old. He's hitting that. He's hitting really that middle of his prime, because he's going to a second contract. He's the best person out there when it's on the board if he was to be an unrestricted free agent next season. He's going to be the top guy that people are trying to pick up. So we know what the Chiefs like to do. If they're not able to figure nothing out, they'll try to trade him. But usually, like Tyreek Hill, they did it before that last year of the contract. So what it tells me, and that happened in March of last year. So with it being past that point and going past the draft, I think they have something in place where we're going to sign you and keep you. We're going to do that. So I don't think it's anything to worry about on that. But any other thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, no other thoughts on. Well, just one more. As far as, like you said, like I said, it's not as sexy, but like I said, the dominance is there. And like you said, they have to have something in place because, like you said, it was March last year when we got rid of Tyreek. I feel like they don't usually like these kind of situations to go south, especially with those star players. They'll rather get. If Beach is very, very smart, he'd rather get picks. I'm pretty sure out of a player than just let them sit and waste away on your roster, mad and not wanting to be there. So I feel like he definitely will. They'll definitely get it done. They got to figure out a way to get it done because, like you said, it's just dominance. He's proven dominance and it's the passing of the torch is what I was gonna say. The passing of the torch is what I feel like is happening right before our very eyes. Right, like you said, Aaron Donald contemplated retirement. Chris Jones has showed that dominance. You see just what he did in the AFC Championship, that playoff run. It's dominance. It's the passing of the torch.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, each era had a pass rusher, and you had to, and everyone had to pass that torch along. And I feel like um, Chris Jones is just getting the torch passed to him now from Aaron Donald.
Exactly. We'll see how it goes. The Chiefs have until August to at least try to figure something out. Hopefully, you don't do it midway through the season and get an extension. If you can do it as early as possible, you do that. Now, jumping on to our next topic, and these both kind of coexist with one another. So we saw Chris Jones has been promoting and going for Frank the Shark Clark since May 8th. Frank posted, "Let's get it, Chiefs." It looks like he wants to run it back with us. He wants to get re-signed. We know the market is out there for Frank Clark. However, it looks like he's not rushing the process because I think he wants to see what the Chiefs are willing to offer after letting him go. Now, it was a dead cap space around 7 million when we released him. We knew that this would happen because it opened up cap space for us to go after guys like Sanders, um, the safety. Who? No, actually,
Edwards,
Mike Edwards,
like
Mike
Edwards,
Edwards, and then Charles and who the defensive end from the 49ers. And then you got that linebacker as well from the Chargers. Um,
Tranquil.
yeah, Drew Tranquil. So really, um, we were able to make some moves to really build up the roster of the Chiefs on the defensive side, bring in some bodies that can be able to play this year and be flexible in positions that we need them at. So with Frank Clark, if this contract extension happens for Chris Jones, what do you think that means for Frank Clark in the next coming months before the season starts?
So as far as the Frank Clark goes, and I love Frank Clark because I feel like he was the pass rusher that put us over the hump. I mean, we were stuck in this, like you said, in this limbo for so long, never winning championships, and to come have the whole heroic season that he had. Not only heroic season, but heroic postseason run, and one of the most epic postseason runs that you will ever see in NFL history. I promise. To this day, um, he's said it, and like Pat said, he said it. He did it the whole way. He's one of those players. He's a player that you really can't you can't really put him in a box. Like you can't really be like, hey Frank, go over here and just not show up, like kind of like just blend in with everybody else, because it's really just not him. Like you said, the athleticism, man, like the get off. When it was good with Frank, but there were bad times too, and a lot of injuries and a lot of times where we felt not having Frank in some of them regular season games. And I felt like that the staff, the management, everybody, they kind of knew that. We kind of understood that. Some of the off the field issues that he had, but before coming to Kansas City, and then it continued when he came to Kansas City. Unfortunately, I feel like led to that decision as well. But I feel like all of that played a factor, but that still didn't stop the player that he was on the field. I feel like he was, like I said, still dominant on the field as far as pass rushing goes, especially in the postseason. But I feel like he's if as long as he's able to accept a lesser role, that he will be fine in KC. He will be able to come to KC. I feel like as long as he'll be like a third down specialist, I could see him really helping on third down. We have a lot of young pass rushers now, so really just mentoring there. Like you said, the kid King Felix, he's from here. So he looked up to Frank Clark. He's very aware of Frank Clark. He knows who Frank Clark is. No disrespect to Frank Clark. He looks like he wants that. He embraces that. So that mentorship. So like I feel like that would be great to have him here. Like he just around to just teach and just show the
That
new pass rushers the way. Like he has so much knowledge, especially when it comes to the postseason. That like just to put that vet in the room, just like Dunlap was there for them, just like T Sizzle was there for them when they went on their runs. I feel like Frank could be that for Felix and George. Like George already had a piece of him, but I feel like that's that vet piece, and I kind of just like put that all together just now, like just seeing like we had Dunlap, we had T Sizzle when he left Baltimore, Terrell
yep.
Suggs when he came here, and we went on our epic run that first year, and we beat San Francisco. Then we bring in Dunlap last year. Last year, vet never been to the playoffs in Cincy. Big shout out to Abe, man. He showed up and we won another one. So like just having that vet present in the room, I just thinking out. It could be Frank. That's what I could see. Like just really coming
It,
in, being that third down specialist and showing
it's
them how to work.
it's going to have to be Frank as well too if he's planning on coming back to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it's no offense to him, but really his regular season numbers wasn't there. His highest sack season with the Chiefs was in 2019 with 8 sacks, but he had that amazing postseason run where he had 5.5 sacks in that postseason, and then it led to Super Bowl win against the 49ers. And then that next season he only had 6 sacks. He had 3.5 in the postseason, but we went back and then we lost to the Tampa Bay 49ers. And last year, only 5 sacks in the regular season and then 2.5 sacks in the postseason. But it led to going to the Super Bowl and then also winning another Super Bowl as well. So every year that he had a sack in the postseason, or really two or more, that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. So coming in into the to next season, you got to understand that your numbers in the regular season, which is what your contract is based off of course, is based off of the playoffs as well too. What you bring to the team, but they need you there for all 17 games as well.
Yeah,
They need you to be able to at least have 10 plus sacks with the contract that you were under to show that you were that guy on the edge for us. You were the guy on the edge for us, but you came in a different way. And it's no offense to that at all. Like, really, I'm someone who has stood at bat for Frank Clark. Like,
yeah,
he's asked to do more than just bringing sacks as well too. He has to contain the edge. He has to be able to slow up the run game as well too. Him being effective on the outside like that, it brings another presence to what we didn't have before he did come in. Like them years without Frank Clark, when that year before when we lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game, we had the 31st ranked rush defense in the league. That jumped up when he came in 2019. So his presence is just not in the run game as well. I mean, in the pass game as well, but also in the run game where you're able to limit those runners to 2.5 yards per carry. You see what happened with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry killed us in the regular season, but in that second half of the postseason in the AFC Championship game, he was locked down. They were all in. They were locked in. And that veteran presence that he brings to the Chiefs is very important. So when you got guys like Felix who's coming in, BJ Thompson that's coming in, he can mold them into something that we will have for years to come. See, Frank Clark loves Kansas City, and he expressed that throughout his entire time here and even leaving. Even when he said that post about he know what he's worth and he put up the ring. That's the truth. And the thing about it is the Chiefs, he know it's not personal with the Chiefs, but it's business. It's like, you want to better the team, right? Let's go ahead and release you this dead money that we still owe you as well, this dead cap space money that we still owe you. That's fine. But when we resign you, take this vet minimum deal. Take this so we're able to bring you back because your role is still significant with the Chiefs. You're not going to be a backup. You're not going to be someone who doesn't get any play time. That's all guaranteed. I even think if he was to come back, he's going to be the day one starter against the Detroit Lions on week 1, and until Felix and BJ Thompson come into play
Already.
to where we see the growth as the season go out, because the Chiefs do like to rotate their defense. They like to bring in new defensive tackles, to save up and give Chris Jones a breather. You had that with Saunders, who ended up going to the Saints, but now you are bringing back you're bringing back Wharton.
Not
You have
Nadi.
Noddy, and you have those other guys as well. Charles Omenihu, he can both play in and defensive tackle, so you have the repetition right there. So with Felix and BJ Thompson coming in, you're going to have them switching in and out with George Karlaftis and Frank Clark. And then you still have Mike Dana as well too. We have bodies where we're going to hit you at any way, and these guys can come in and get sacked. When those guys that you're thinking that are meant on the team to get sacks, we got those other guys as well too coming off the bench. So you have the depth at each position to where you can play. Frank Clark, he was already getting switched in and out anyway. So I mean, it all depends on what another team offers. In my opinion, I don't think they will offer anything significant to where it's like, okay, let me go here. I think it will at least have to be like 10 plus mil more that they're offering him guaranteed, like base salary and guaranteed to where he wants to go over there. But with the Chiefs, if it's not in that range, I might as well go back to where I won 2 Super Bowls with. The coach brought me in and treated me like a son, although he had that incident a couple years ago where he got caught with a gun. And we 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 build character in Kansas City. We don't, as long as you tell the truth about your past and what you're going through, you're going to be okay. Andy Reid dealt with this throughout his entire career. Mike Vick, you had Terrell Owens, you had the Tyreek Hill situation. You had just so much things going on. Kareem Hunt, the reason why that didn't work out is because he lied to the team. That's already been proven a fact. That's the only reason why. And then they was going to hit you with a suspension anyway in the middle of the season. When after that game in week 9. So either way it goes, like the Chiefs, they take that in and they are able to build off of that. So I think with Frank Clark, it's just going to depend on this contract extension with Chris Jones and then what he's willing to take. He's going to be a very important asset and a very important piece to the Chiefs. So if he wants to really come back and win another Super Bowl and run it back with us, I think it's going to really start with having that conversation with Brett Veach, trickling down, having that conversation with Coach Reed, and then talking to Spags as well too. So I think it all can come, and we will see how it goes throughout the time. We have until August, I believe. He can also give a sign within the middle of the season as well too if he's not picked up in the off season. But hey, we'll see.
Yeah, and I should say the being with Frank Clark, your best ability, the best ability is availability, man.
Mm-hmm.
So like the best ability you can have is to be available. So
yep. And that's all we need. But we want you back, Frank the Shark Clark.
We do. We want the Shark. We need the Shark.
We love you.
We need you, man. Come on.
We need that attitude. We need that grit. We need that aggressiveness. And we need that swagger. We need that swagger. I don't miss that. I need that. I smell blood in the water.
From the energy.
I need that. But I need that week 1 all the way up. I need that all the way up.
Yeah.
But we all good. But hey, that's all we have for this first episode of Chiefin with Dilly Dale. Lonnie, it was a fun time. Our episodes are going to be shot on Sunday, and they should be out to y'all by Tuesday. So we want you to check us out on all social media platforms, Kansas City Sports Company, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook at Dale Fowler Jr., Instagram at Daily_Dale39, and then on Twitter at Dale E. Fowler. Lonnie, give them your social media handles.
You can follow me on Instagram at __ Lano, so LONO. And then you can follow me on Twitter at _ Lano, I think as well, just LONO as well on there. So yeah, that's both of my handles. I'm not I'm trying to get all my social media stuff together, y'all.
We trying to get him on social media.
So
we need to
I'm trying to get it together.
He's living in the Middle Ages, in the Stone Ages. It's time for him to come out here.
Yeah.
Come on, Lonny. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's all we got for y'all. We appreciate y'all for coming in and listening to us. We're going to see you next week. Talk to you soon.